history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about a science book. Don't know much about the French I took. But I do know that I love you.
9:21, we're right back here in the heart of the River Bend on this beautiful 12th day of January. Joining me now is Melissa Erker with Phillips 66, and you guys saw a little bit in the news or on the social media feed, a brand new scholarship opportunity for all of the students, especially right here in the River Bend. Melissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there, and tell us all about this really cool thing. This is something new, correct?
Yes, it's a brand new program, and one that I'm really excited about. You know, one of the things that we in our industry and even locally here at the Phillips 66 refinery see is that we're looking to make sure that we grow our own talent and employees in our communities. And so when we were looking at a national program that we wanted to be able to offer to the communities where we had business locations, and to both recognize scholars but also potentially find new employees for our industry. So we came up with a new scholarship program. We'll be offering 66 scholarships to students from across the United States in areas where we operate. And we're going to do this through our local Boys and Girls Clubs because we feel like it's important because, you know, obviously the kids, the students who are connected with Boys and Girls Clubs often have a connection back to their community. And we said, why not be able to do something where we partner with an institution that we know we're partnered with in many ways, and then be able to offer scholarships to members of these Boys and Girls Clubs. So here locally, we have both the Alton and Bethalto Boys and Girls Club.
That's incredible. And I just had on Al Womack yesterday, and we didn't talk directly about this. We were talking some other topics, but off the air, he was so excited about this and just such a great opportunity. So what are the eligibility requirements? Is there any, fine details we need to know about?
Sure. The biggest requirement is that we want our recipients to be members of the Boys and Girls Club. So, this is about, being a member up there, and both Al in Alton and Kathy in Bethalto can help students become members and active members of Boys and Girls Clubs. But other than that, obviously a scholarship is going to look at a couple of different things. It's going to look at academic performance, leadership performance, so extracurricular activities, and then also need. The scholarship, the applicants will go into a system that will be evaluated by a third-party panel. But, we do see that there's going to be a lot of opportunity because system-wide, there's only 17 Boys and Girls Clubs across the nation that will be able to input students into this program. So this isn't like one of these big national scholarship programs where you're competing with hundreds of thousands of different students. You're really going to just be competing against students who are also in the communities where we operate other facilities and our Houston headquarters. So that's really cool. But the other component that I think is really great about the scholarship. So not only is it a renewable scholarship, because we see a lot of scholarships where you get a one and done type of situation. So you get money for your freshman year and then that's it. But this is a renewable scholarship. So if you can maintain a certain GPA, you get to have this scholarship renewed. And it's for $5,500 a year. So $5,500 a year for a 4-year institution, or $1,500 if you go to like a 2-year institution like Lewis and Clark. And so, but the other component that we're really excited about is once you're in this program, if you're in an applicable program, so whether it be engineering or maybe it's a welding program or something that's related to our business, you're going to be guaranteed an interview for either an internship or a full-time position.
That is so cool. And honestly, you segued it perfect. I don't know if you're a mind reader in your spare time, but that was my next question for you was this internship opportunity, and not even just the internship, but a full full-time position opportunity if, the requirements are met, and everything is good with the 4 years institution. Was this something that was talked about early on in this development process? Do you know of, was making sure that you guys were able to have the opportunity to retain some of these amazing students?
Well, and that's really the whole point is, yes, that's what we want. We really want to see the growth of talent from our own communities. I mean, often what happens is, and this is not just true for our industry, but others, we have these kids from our region who go on and then they leave the area. And what we want to see is them come back into, our facilities and into our industry. And, many of them have grown up around it. So we want that ability to capture their talents, to capture this knowledge, to capture their commitment to this community and to the other communities where we operate nationwide. And so it really was an important component to the program, and that's why we partnered with the Boys and Girls Clubs, because often the students who have been parts of their Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the years, who've grown up at those facilities and then become leaders at those facilities in their high school years, they're the ones who want to come back to their community and to continue to invest in their community. And, we see this as an investment in our students long term and to bring them back to become leaders in our communities.
You couldn't have said it better right there. And I just had the opportunity today, Melissa, to go talk to the RiverBend CEO students over at Alton High. They're a part of a program where they learn how to make their own small business and develop those ideas. And to see programs like that, to see the scholarship opportunities that you guys are providing with these 66 scholarship potentials. I mean, to me, that's the biggest takeaway is we're wanting to reinvest in our community. And now you guys have done scholarships, of course, in the past. How was the development of this maybe a little bit different than the other ones you've done? Was this or was this the same rubric?
Well, and so this really is in partnership with our corporate programs, and so it was really based out of the same rubric, but to do it on a larger scale. I mean, obviously we have a local scholarship with our community advisory panel, and so we look at the same criteria in the sense of academics mixed with kind of community involvement and then need, but I think what's so great about this program, though, is it just takes it to the next step, is, in the components of being renewable and also giving that opportunity to be in the system as a potential higher long-term. That is really, I think, the important part of it. So what I really loved is I really felt like our corporate group, listening to what a lot of our local business community folks said, we have refineries and different cities across the U.S., and we have other major operations in different areas. And what we've all said is it would be nice to have a bigger, consistent program beyond what we can offer locally from a much smaller budget. But this is a huge commitment when you think about it. Is that we plan to offer these annually and to be able to offer 66 scholarships that are renewable, and then each and every year offer a new class of that. It's an ongoing investment into our youth in these communities.
And that's honestly it's really cool to see that and hear about it, because so many times, we always hear about companies that are a little bit larger that do these things, but so many times it's hard to find, stuff that directly could pertain to us and that we can utilize, like this really cool scholarship service. Now, I'm seeing that you guys do have a deadline. Now, that's March 6th, correct, to get these applications in?
I believe it's March 1st.
Oh,
March 1st. Yes, that's right. But March 1st, and I would say this, and hey, I'm a mother of 2 college-age kids too. Please, please, please do not wait till the last minute to do these applications. A third party administers the application for us, but I believe usually there's a letter of recommendation that is needed, and those type of things go directly into these systems. And so, I hear from people. We also have a Phillips 66 dependent scholarship that's similar. So that's the children of employees, and we've had that for many, many years. But I hear from the parents. Yeah, my son or daughter waited until the night before, and we just couldn't complete all of the steps. So I always tell these kids, hey, when it comes to scholarships, err on the side of giving yourself extra time, and then that way, we can make sure that you're in the system. The thing that always makes me sad is when you know that there's someone who would have been a great recipient, and they just didn't make the deadline. So, and I think there's a lot of possibilities. I'm hoping that we have several recipients in this region, and that we can celebrate them. Hopefully, come late, mid-May when these 66 recipients are announced.
And that's what I'm ready for. That I think that'll be really cool to see how many local students utilize this great opportunity in front of them. And you're right. I'll add on to your little pitch there about getting it done early. Save the home life stress. Okay, you don't want to be up on February 28th asking the Lord why you didn't do this 2 weeks ago, because this is really cool. And like you said, these are renewable every year, right?
Yes.
Let's hit that again. That is so important.
Right. I really think, I watched during the scholarship season, and were there, these one-time awards, and those are great. Those are really great. But what we know is that, going to college or going to a trade school is an investment. And so years 2, 3, and 4, you don't want to have everything paid for in year 1, but not know how you're going to pay for it in year 2. So, right. To think about having, another $5,500 for sure coming at you in year 2, and then again in year 3, and again in year 4. That's a big commitment, and that is so important. And so this is one that I think kids should take note of. Know that there's a lot of opportunity here, and go after it, because renewable is huge. It's worth over $20,000 in the end of your academic investment.
And that's the huge, that is a massive chunk of change, to say, the least. And we have a couple of minutes left, Melissa. Have you had anyone reaching out with some generic questions that you can answer for folks? Before I don't know if you have any general FAQs that were coming in. That's the last bit that I wanted to kind of touch on, because this is, you hit it off. This is so cool. And it definitely speaks volumes of Phillips 66's commitment to the communities.
Yeah. No, I just think that, most important thing is that, that this is through the Boys and Girls Club. So that's a little bit unique. We know that the Boys and Girls Clubs, are centered in Alton and Bethalto, but there's still opportunities to be members there. So I would tell students that if they're not members of a Boys and Girls Club today, that they should, seek out how could they be a member, and what does that entail, so that they too can be a part of this scholarship. And also, as you look forward, this is a program that, we plan on continuing to invest in. And so maybe we've got some kids out there that are in 7th, 8th, 9th grade, and that maybe they're not active in a Boys and Girls Club, but maybe this is a time where they think about it. And the great partnership there is that what we see from the Boys and Girls Clubs are these real abilities to be mentors, to be community leaders, to do that outreach, and to do these things that make you a well-rounded student, and then a well-rounded member of your community later on. And that's why it's such an important thing. And you had referenced the CEO program. I'm very familiar with that program, and I love that too. This is about building leaders in our community in the future, and I know that so many companies invest, as well as my own, invest in the CEO program because they feel like this is ability to grow our own. And I'm just hoping that this scholarship is very similar in that manner, that we're identifying future leaders and people who can bring all their different skill sets So, we're not just going after engineers. Hey, we want the kids who want to work with their hands, who want to be on the tools and want to operate our facility, as well as being engineers and accountants and the other type of traditional 4-year degrees we think about.
I couldn't have said it better myself. One last question for you, and that's I can't wait to, I guess not really a question, but just telling you I can't wait to talk about this again next year. And hopefully maybe we even get on a scholarship recipient in a couple of months and talk to them about their process and what their plans are for the future.
I would love to do that. So we will make sure we follow up with you once we know who the winners are.
That sounds like, hey, a winner to me. 9:36 on this 12th day of January. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
No problem. We'll be back with more of our daily show right after a quick break in the heart of the Riverbend. That's downtown Alton.